So some of my students have told me that when they hear American English, it sounds like this to them.
Oh my God, yeah, that's so crazy. Did you hear what he was saying yesterday? And then he went to the park and I didn't even know that about him. Isn't that so wild? I could not believe it. Wow.
But if you slow down and you take the time to learn the individual sounds of what is really happening in spoken English and how those sounds link together, things get a little bit clearer. It becomes a lot easier to understand. First, we have to understand the building blocks, the individual sounds of English, and then we can begin to see the big picture of what is being said in natural spoken everyday English. Grab a coffee or a tea and get comfortable. I'm sitting here comfortably on my floor in my messy, messy home. Don't worry about cleaning. You can do that later. Let's talk about English sounds together that maybe you didn't learn in your English class. I once had a student ask me, why, when I'm listening to American English speakers, do I keep hearing them roll their R's? Why do I hear rolling R sounds all the time in American English? If you don't know what a rolled R is, go listen to some Spanish right now. There's a lot of trilled, rolled R sounds in Spanish speaking. But also, in American English, we kind of have a rolled R sound. And it looks like this in the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the pronunciation alphabet. And you'll find this sound when Americans say T sounds in naturally spoken English. Sorry, I live near an airport and I have to pause every time an airplane flies over. Okay, so in words like better, butter, bottle, all of these words have T sounds in them. However, American English speakers rarely pronounce the T's like t in these kinds of words. Instead, many American English speakers, if not most American English speakers, will just quickly say the sound so that it sounds like a D sound, a soft D sound. So instead of better, Americans will say better, better. It's hard for me to say it slowly. Better. Or instead of butter, we'll say butter. It sounds like a rolled R or a soft tapping D. Better. Bottle. And it doesn't just happen when there's a double T word. It happens also in words like water. Americans rarely say water. Instead, we'll say water. It's really like a rolled R sound in Spanish. A little bit softer than that, I think. And we don't only use this sound within words. We also use it in sentences, across words. So for example, the sentence or the question, what do you do? As in like, what do you do for work? In naturally spoken English, everyday fast English, this will often sound like, what do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What do you do? What are you doing might sound like, what are you doing? 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 What? And so we can try to memorize patterns, be aware of patterns, but know that these are guidelines. And the best thing that you can do for yourself is to get familiar with the International Phonetic Alphabet, or the IPA, the pronunciation alphabet, so that you can start to read words in their IPA spelling. If you know how to read the IPA, you will always know how to pronounce words. I'm going to put a link down below to a free IPA keyword guide so you can start to get to know these sounds. And if you're ready to master these sounds, I have a course for you. I'll put that link down below as well. But at least get the free thing. Get this free guide to start your journey with American pronunciation. Okay, the next sound that I want to talk about is something that really messes with understanding. Sometimes learners say these sounds and it's hard for people to understand what they're saying, and it's a simple fix, okay? So what I'm talking about here are the t, p, and k sounds in English. These sounds at the beginning of words are said with a p, a puff of air coming out of your mouth. And if you don't say them with a puff of air, they sound like a completely different sound to native English speakers. So for example, the word pat and bat for the p sound and the b sound, these two sounds are made at the same place in your mouth with your lips coming together. However, when you say pat, there's a puff of air that comes out of your mouth. When you say bat, there's no puff of air. And I'm going to prove this to you with a piece of paper. So I'll say the first one, pat, 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 pat. I'll try not to exaggerate too much. Pat, pat, pat. There's a puff of air coming out of my mouth versus bat, 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 pat, bat, pat, bat. And this tiny difference is actually a big difference for English speakers because we perceive the word completely different depending on that little puff of air. If you want to say the word pen, but you say ben, 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 English speakers might think you're talking about a man named Ben or Big Ben in London. You have to say it with a puff of air. Pen, pen, pen. And this rule applies when the sound happens at the beginning of a word, okay? Pen versus Ben. And the same is true for the sounds t and d. So t has a puff of air and d does not. Even though these sounds are made at the same place in your mouth, they're both made just a little bit behind your teeth. D and t, t, d. T has a puff of air, so let me prove it to you. Ten, ten, den, den, ten, ten, den, den. And the same with k and g. So k has a puff of air, g does not. Caught, caught, got, got, caught, caught, got. I might be exaggerating a little bit, but just a little bit. Go get a piece of paper and try this out. If you were one of those little kids who always wanted to know a secret code language or write your own secret code language, the only secret code language you need is the IPA, but it's actually useful and will teach you how to pronounce English words as they are actually spoken. Another difficult American sound is this vowel ah, ah, because it's kind of unique to American English. As far as I'm aware, it's a ah. It's very nasally. Your mouth is open wide. So if you go like this, you can feel your jaw get really big when you say it. Ah, ah, cat, cat, cat. And you can kind of feel it in your nose. We call this an ugly sound. A way you can remember it is that it's in some words that are emotionally charged, that have emotions attached to them, such as mad, sad, and glad. Ah. Many learners of English mix up the two L sounds. Yes, so we have two L sounds in English. One is the easier L sound, the front L sound or the light L sound. This is the L that happens at the front of your mouth, meaning the tip of your tongue is touching the back of your top front teeth. And you smile when you say it, so it looks like light, light. You can really feel that one. But we also have another L sound in English, the back L or the dark L. And this is the L sound that happens in the end of words, at the end of words, or in the middle of words. So, for example, the word cold, cold. For this L, you're not going to feel your tongue touching the back of your top teeth here. Instead, it sort of acts more like an R in that your tongue is pulled back. Cold, cold. Your tongue is away from your front teeth, does not touch your top teeth, and is sort of getting closer to the top of your mouth, the roof of your mouth. Cold, 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 told. And so understandably, there are a lot of learners that will confuse this dark L with an R sound. You will often find the dark L or the back L pronounced at the end of words. For example, ball, ball, call, call. But this can be confusing because sometimes we also have the front L in the middle of words. For example, the word filing, filing is said with a front L or a light L sound. If you want to practice your American English pronunciation even more, check out this video next where I talk about connected speech in natural English speaking. I hope this video was helpful, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye!